Good morning. Welcome to this week's Sunday Shelfie. Today we are on week 8 of 9 of my young adult and middle grade collection. If you're new to this series, the link is in the description below. And yeah, getting close to wrapping up. I'm predicting, although I'm really bad at predicting this, that this week is going to be a little shorter than most because a bulk of the shelf, at least a third of it, is all one series. One I haven't read yet, so can't really speak too much to it. I may take some time at the end to show you a random smaller shelf that I have of a few young adult and middle grade things, so we'll see how it goes. Let's go look at some books. We're up on the top shelves now, so I am holding the camera instead of using my tripod, and I am shaky AF, so I am sorry for that going through this video. Confessions of a Murder Suspect by James Patterson and Maxine Petro. James Patterson and company produce so many books that I have a hard time believing that they are of any quality. Although I imagine he comes up with the outline and then the co-author is the one who actually writes it, but then they stick his name prominently to sell more books. But I am mildly interested in murder mysteries in the young adult section, especially if there's a magic twist. And I'm not sure if this one has a magic twist. I haven't investigated too much, but shall see. We have Hero's Song and Fire Arrow by Edith Pateau. I forgot I even had these books actually, but I like women warrior stories, especially in young adult, like girls being capable of doing awesome things, so I think that's why I still have those. I really can't see myself ever getting around to reading them, but that's a story for another day. And we have my beautiful Aragon collection. I love these hardcovers, but they're kind of wasted on me. So I read Aragon when it very first came out, and then was lucky enough to get an arc of the second book, and read that. And then there was so much time between the release of this book and then again for the release of this book that I forgot what had happened. So my intention at that point was to let the series complete and then to go back and reread, which I did. I went back and reread both Aragon and Eldest and did not enjoy the reread as much. Probably because I was a good, 15 years older, and a lot of the writing problems in Aragon were really prominent to me at that point. So finished Eldest again, and then still never went on to finish the series, so half of those are read, the other half aren't. I would like to say that I would get to the other two eventually, but at this point I'm just not sure. Oh, you know what? I have these Edith Pateau because someone highly recommended the story East to me by the same author, and I thought, well, if this one's good, then I must buy all of the books that she's written. I don't know much about this, but it did come to me really highly endorsed, and, I love animal companion type of things, so I think that'd be really cool. Then my Tamora Pierce collection. Considering the types of stories I love, it's amazing to me that I have not read more from this author. I have read the Immortals Quintet, that one has to do with animals, and next on the list, very high priority, is The Song of the Lioness. And an odd connection, I read the Race the Sands book by Sarah Beth Durst, and in the back of the book she highlights Tamora Pierce as one of her writing inspirations, and it made me want to read more Tamora Pierce. I enjoyed that book so much. Anyway, this is it's like a 2-in-1 Circle of Magic, and then we've got books 3 and 4, which I just think these are so cool. These are very readable, clunky hardcovers. I love them. So anyway, I would say of everything in my collection, Tamora Pierce is kind of a high priority at the moment. I would love to at least read this book within the next year or two. Oh, and the Firebringer trilogy by Meredith Ann Pierce. It was on the shelf below because I was using it to help prop my camera as I filmed. But this is Science Fiction Book Club edition compilation, and it just looked like a lot of fun. I really haven't heard any feedback on this series yet, but hoping to get into that at some point. And this right here is the reason why I think this tour is going to be a little shorter than most, which is good because my shoulder is already killing me. But I have collected in one fell swoop as many Pokemon box sets as I could. And currently I am on the third book. I've read the first two. And I really enjoyed Indigo League, watched it a few times, have the DVDs, love Pokemon. But my biggest complaint is that "Gotta catch 'em all" was such a weird tagline for a show where he caught practically nothing throughout the entire saga. I think that was a huge missed opportunity. That is very much not the case in this story so far. I'm absolutely loving it. And compared to these, the Indigo League show was kind of bubblegum. Like, these are pretty gritty. Like, Pokemon actually die. And it's not gruesome by any means, but it is a little darker, and I am finding myself just eating up every page. My only concern, and let me know if you feel this way as well, but it seems like this first 7 books, first 151 Pokemon, whatever, and then we go on to the next series and the next series and so on. I lost interest in Pokemon about halfway through the second set of them. They started getting ridiculous. The creativity in the first ones were so good, and then they were just phoning it in. But I like the series enough. And how I ended up with these? I went into Costco for one thing, and then decided to blow my entire grocery budget on the entire set, because I must have all of them right now. They get me every time. Okay, this is a weird angle, but it's going to save my shoulder. Let's see if it works. Okay, we have The Starters by Lisa Price. Yet another one of those altered human stories. Got this one as an ARC, and I really like the spine, like this bright blue, gorgeous spine. But yeah, know nothing about the book. Even when it actually came out, we didn't sell too terribly many copies, so I'm not sure what to expect with this one. Ash and Bramble by Sarah Prinius. This is actually a pretty recent acquisition. I think I got it at Book Outlet during one of my sales, and I have no idea why I picked this up. But maybe I found the cover appealing or the title, but yeah, give that one. Amy Plum. She wrote a book, I can't remember the exact title, after the end. It was like a post-apocalyptic kind of Alaskan rural type of story, but this one has to do with Paris, and I find myself, even though I picked it up for only $3, not really that interested in reading it. I thought the writing was just okay, and didn't appreciate the story or the plot enough in that other one to continue with the duology. Not sure I'm totally interested in that one. Defiance by CJ Redwine. I've heard enough good things about this one that I felt okay picking up the whole series. And hopefully, and you know, the thing is I don't really know anything about it other than like it comes recommended. And I do tend to go into books without knowing a lot. I find if I know anything about where the plot's going, even just from the description on the back of the book, I am less invested, more likely to give a low rating and to not finish it. So yeah, hopefully that one's good though. And then these are also recent acquisitions. Kathy Wright is a adult mystery author, so I figured her taking on a teen version would be really cool. And I don't know much about it, but the virals speaks to me. Altered humans, hopefully with some sort of skills because of it, which I think is quite cool. So yeah, very interested in that one. I don't think I would have picked it up when I was a teen, but I definitely am interested now. I worked with someone who absolutely loved this series, endorsed it constantly, hand sold so many, and there are not a lot of young adult sci-fi. So I picked it up, but I'm a little concerned that it'll focus less on the cool world building and more about the relationship development, which when I pick something like this up, I am more interested in rich world building. And I don't mind a romance. In fact, sometimes I actually really like them, but I don't want that to be all that it's about. So I'm a little worried about that. It's probably why I haven't picked it up to this point. The Black City by Elizabeth Richards. Got this one as an ARC, I think, in a giveaway, and I am thinking maybe it's a little bit post-apocalyptic. I don't know. I like the pink, but don't know much about that one. I have my compilations of Del Toro Quest, which are a little beat up because I lent them to my brother when we were kids and he carried them around everywhere in his backpack. I'm glad he enjoyed them. But I haven't read them yet. All of the books in here are about this size, so that's why they're able to fit so many. And like I said, I love reading these types of hardcovers. They're very satisfying. They feel like quick reads. And then I've heard a lot of people recommend the Rowan series by the same author, Emily Rhoda. So I've been hanging on to these for so long that I feel like I am no longer the target audience. And now I'm kind of more hanging on to them to see if it's something my son and I can get into together. I don't see myself picking them up independently for like adult reading enjoyment. Under the Never Sky. I'm not quite sure why I shelved this one up here. Probably because I'd have to reread it to continue. But the thing is I read this one twice. I read it when it very first came out. I liked it, it was pretty good. And reread it to continue the series and then never actually continued the series. It was pretty good. I mean, for post-apocalyptic and then decent world building, okay love story, but kind of knew what I was getting into with this second book, kind of had an idea of where it was going, so for some reason didn't feel the need to actually continue. But this really should be in my read section. I'm going to move it down there. And I feel like if I haven't read on at this point, I probably never will, but we'll see. Riders by Veronica Rossi, same author as that last series. I've just been slowly acquiring these. I don't know. The story looks pretty interesting. And I do like her quality of writing, so that one's got promise. Zodiac by Romina Russell. I feel like this one did not gain a lot of traction. So I have this as an advanced reader. And I like the cover, and I like the idea for a story. It feels kind of creative. Haven't gotten into that. Same thing with this one. Got this one as an ARC. It's Glow by Amy Kathleen Ryan. I'm getting futuristic, like technology vibes from that one. And then R.A. and Gino Salvatore. I believe he co-wrote this with his son. I picked it up because I thought it would be fun. And that very well might be Dritz making a cameo, or maybe even a pivotal role. That could be cool. And since I pulled out that Rossi book, I have room for Cytonic now, which I'll add in a minute. New acquisition that I haven't added to the collection yet. But the first book in the Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians book. Sanderson takes on fun, middle grade type of stories. And eventually I'd like the whole thing. This is actually probably the only Sanderson I haven't read other than his newest Cytonic here. Does that mean I can't call myself a super fan? I feel like I just need to be in the right mood for that. Last Star Burning, another random acquisition I got recently from a book outlet. And here's the thing, I have decided that I'm not allowed to continue buying random teen books from book outlet anymore, because I will just continue stuffing these shelves, but then I never get around to actually reading them. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 series a year, which does not justify the number of books that I've been buying. Another Shadow Mountain publication, the Far World series by J. Scott Savage. A signed copy here. I love whoever Shadow Mountain gets to commission their artwork. I just think they are so beautiful. Such high quality artwork and beautiful books. These are actually taller than most. Most of them are like the short hardcovers. Yeah. I don't know if it's just because the marketing on these are so beautiful, but I feel like I'm really going to love that series. And then the Vampire Kisses series by Schreiber. I had a friend read these and really enjoy them. And they're so short that I feel like if I'm in the mood for a quick little vampire pick-me-up story, that these would be perfect. And then I have books 2 and 3 in the Wells of Sorcery trilogy by Django Wexler, an author I am really enjoying over the last year or so. I liked the first book. I thought the world building was cool, very cool atmosphere, interesting main character. Takes place on like a haunted ship on the high seas. Like, I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And acquired these next two as they came out, but have not made time to read them yet. Oh, and then I finally invested in a Harry Potter companion. I've been resisting buying one for years, and then found him on a recent trip and love him so much. So I finally have my own owl. It's official. Look at his little fuzzy feet. And that wraps up this section. Let's take a second to go look at that other little shelf. Okay, there's a plant kind of in the way, but you'll get the idea. So first off, this top shelf, these are my husband's books. These are like house-specific sets of Harry Potter, and each of them have like quizzes and little Easter eggs specific to that house. And so he quickly gobbled them up and bought all of them, and I have yet to explore them to see if they're worth how excited we both were to find them. And anyway, this is his set of Harry Potter. Mine is up on my shelves. And then I have the illustrated collection here, which I have not really cracked the spine on, because I'm saving them to read to my kids, and I want to be just as surprised at the illustrations as they are, because I think I'll have more fun with it that way. And then I've mentioned countless times that Louis Royo is my favorite artist, and so I have a ton of works by him. And then he came out with a calendar every year. Probably has one this year, but I haven't looked. It's the first year I haven't bought one in like a decade, as you can see here. So yep, love his works. So just have all the art sets there. I have this random giant book of dragons. They're Cruello dragons, which if you're going to get dragon books, he's one of the better artists. And then big book of Fantasy Quest. This is like an interactive, like solve some mysteries, kind of maybe I Spy books for adults in some ways, but I think that's what it is anyway. Anyway, someone recommended that to me and I thought it sounded really cool, so I picked it up. Have not touched it since. And then this massive tome is the Kingdom Hearts, like the complete series that got my husband for Christmas. And I played the games a little bit, but never made it too far before I got busy with other things. But yeah, it's one of his all-time favorites, and I love Disney stuff, so yeah, can't wait to crack the spine on that one. And then these really cool editions of Harry Potter that I've featured in the haul video where I got them. And then my beloved Garfield collection. Love these. And then my Zitz collection, equally love. I bought at a Goodwill store, some random city, the Foxtrot collection. And even though I've wiped the covers down, they're still really grimy. So I'm not sure if I see myself actually reading those. I'm kind of a germaphobe, but like it has that like weird grimy texture where you feel like you gotta wash your hands after you touch it. And then this one's mine. Love that one. Got that one on bargain at some point. The only other thing in that same vein of note are these Avatar books written by the original like artist for the show or whatever, writer. And I'm not very far in, but it continues directly after the end of the first like set of 3 seasons of Avatar. So if you're like me and you're very dissatisfied that they jumped so far to talk about Korra without like giving anything on the in-between, like this is the answer to that. It follows chronologically right after, and it is so cool. I feel like I'm getting an exclusive sneak peek at the behind the scenes story on what happened next. So The Promise is the first one. Highly recommend these. They are beautiful. In fact, like just to show you, absolutely gorgeous illustrations, and then like author commentary on the side on each page, which really adds to the story for me. So this is rad. Anyway, there's that for this week. Big plant. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's tour, and I hope to catch you next week. Bye.